about the program, we have thought of showcasing certain success stories in India, which can be further implemented or taken forward to African countries or the Asian countries of their relevance. So we have a lined up speakers with us who will be speaking on to presenting certain details about the technologies with you. And starting with the inaugural function, I would just like to give a brief about Dr. Ashok Khosla, Chairman from Development Alternative Group, which is a consortium of social enterprises based in India. It is envisioned to create technologies, business, and markets for large-scale generation of sustainable livelihoods. Earlier, he was Director of Office of Environment in Government of India and Director Info-TERA in United Nations Environment Program. He has joined us and he has been the key person to initiate the discussion and collaborations with AARDO. And I thank AARDO as well for coordinating with us. And over to Dr. Ashok. Sir?
So you're muted.
I think you're muted. I cannot hear you, sir.
I think you should be able to hear me now.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. For some reason, it just goes into mute once in a while, in which case warn me so that I don't keep talking. A very warm welcome to all of you from various countries in Africa and Asia to talk a bit this week about some fundamental issues that we all need to address. These are issues that are confronting almost the whole planet, but certainly our countries in a very deep kind of way. These are issues to do with global change, climate, biodiversity, species extinction, loss of forests and soils, and loss of a kind of a future that we all wish to leave behind for our children. The deprivation that exists in our countries, including for resources such as energy and water, basic needs such as shelter, food, clothing, healthcare, and education. These are all things that each one of our citizens desires, and at the moment, many of them are not getting. So this course is really to look at how to deal with the issues of creating jobs and income for people to ensure a reasonable level of prosperity, and also to make sure that we do not have a very negative impact on the bigger global issues such as climate and biodiversity. So I am delighted that you have all joined us. Our organization, Development Alternatives and TARA, are dedicated to solving these problems in the most urgent and scalable way that we can. We feel that no citizen of Africa or Asia should be left behind. And so all the things that we're going to share with you today, particularly the technological and institutional frameworks that we need to adopt, are designed essentially to solve these problems, these twin problems of poverty as well as overuse of natural resources in a way that we can all benefit. Much of the work that the DA, Development Alternatives Group, which includes TARA, have been working with might be called frugal technologies. That is not to diminish their value. In fact, frugality is a very important way of life that we all need to adopt so that we do leave a productive and healthy resource base for future generations. So may I again welcome you all, and I hope that you will find this course of value to your work, your daily work, as well as to the future policies of your countries. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashok sir. Thank you so much. Now taking it forward, I would like to request Shashank Patara, CEO of DA. I'll just give a brief introduction about him. He's an architect by training, and his current work is focused in systems change, social innovation, and entrepreneurship. He has been working with DA Group since 1988, providing research expertise, management capabilities, and strategic directions to the team. So over to Shashank, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Bharti. I tried unmuting and I wasn't able to do so, but thank you so much. It's a pleasure for me to welcome all the participants, and I'm grateful on behalf of our organization to the Assistant Secretary General and the entire AARDO team. Ms. Dameja, thank you very much for encouraging us to get into this collaboration. This is a major milestone for us, and we hope that in the coming months and years there'll be many more events such as these and other more practical or impactful outcomes, if I could say so, of the collaboration between AARDO, Development Alternatives, and TARA. The partnership is, there are certain principles, I think, embedded in our partnership, which also reflect some of the strengths of our organization, which we wish to share in this program with the participants, and then also in the future. The first is a belief in technology. From the time that Development Alternatives and TARA were set up, we have always believed and have to a considerable degree demonstrated how the use of technology, the intelligent use of technology, its application can have a transformative effect on the lives of people and also help us take care of nature. We've seen so much destruction in the past on both accounts, the environment as well as the loss of jobs, livelihoods, etc., that I'm sure everyone here would agree that we need to reverse processes that have led to those kind of negative impacts. And technology has been a centerpiece of all of our work. The second, which I think all of you would also subscribe to, is a belief in entrepreneurship, particularly entrepreneurship at the grassroots, micro-entrepreneurship. And once again, not just in India, but in several countries of Africa and Southeast Asia and a few other places in the world, we've been able to demonstrate with partners, certainly not entirely ourselves, that if good frugal technology of the kind that Dr. Khosla has talked about, that is put into the hands of entrepreneurs, it can have a dramatic impact on people and nature and build economies that are not just good for people in terms of securing jobs, earning incomes, etc., but are also good from the point of view of managing resources and doing good by way of environmental impact. We wish to engage, much further, and I sincerely hope that this program that we have right now is a stepping stone, not just for further engagement with AARDO, but with engagement with many of your organizations. It would be a privilege, a pleasure for us to strengthen the work that all of you are doing in your countries with whatever solutions we can offer. And to that extent, I think this program is just a glimpse of the kind of possibilities that exist, and that we'd be extremely pleased to work on further with you. There are 3 or 4 solutions, if I could call them, because they're beyond just technologies, that will be highlighted in this program. The first is a totally new generation of cement. that we'll be talking about, limestone calcined clay cement. We call it LC3 for short, or low carbon cement. It's already found application in several countries of the world, India being one of them, but then also Sri Lanka, Africa, Thailand, Saudi Arabia, where we've helped industries there transfer from high energy consuming, high emission cement to this much more environment friendly type of cement. We'll also be talking a little bit about decentralized renewable energy, microgrids, because we're aware that in many of your countries, particularly in remote communities, access to energy is still a challenge. And as we all know, reliable availability of energy can have a transformative impact on the lives of people, both in terms of their homes, their lives, the quality of life, but also in terms of the economic activity that they can engage in. The third, you'll hear about some water solutions, both by way of testing, purifying water, but then also managing water in a much more intelligent way, which I think most communities in our countries now need to do. And the third is a range of building materials, essentially cement-based, the unique feature of which is that they can all be produced by local micro-enterprises. And they're also extremely energy and cost efficient. So over time, not only do they create jobs, but they can have an effect on creating livelihoods for people. So with those few words, a warm welcome to you all once again. We're really grateful that all of you are taking time out of your schedules to be part of this program. And I'd like to once again thank AARDO for your generous partnership. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Would like to invite and welcome Mr. Rami Katashit, Assistant Secretary General from AARDO, to deliver the inaugural remarks. Having said so, a brief introduction would be very less for him, but yeah, he hails from Jordan and took over the charge at AARDO in 2022 after having been elected by the 73rd session of AARDO Executive Committee held in 2021. Prior to this, he has worked with the Royal Hashemite Court, wherein he was engaged in impact analysis studies for poverty elevation projects. So he has areas of expertise in international laws, policies, rural development projects, and international relations. It would be very less for me to speak a lot, but yeah, I would like to invite you, sir, for your introductory remarks. Yeah. If you can.
I think.
Yeah.
Am I audible? Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Actually, good afternoon to all from New Delhi, from our headquarters of AARDO. We're very happy and honored to collaborate with such as excellent institution as TARA. So let me start with respected Dr. Ashok Khosla, the Chairman, Development Alternatives Group, Shri Shrastant Patara, CEO of Development Alternatives and Executive Vice President of Development Alternatives Group, Dr. Suman Maiti, Chief Technology Officer, TARA, Course Coordinator of the program, Ms. Bharti Jarostia, and Deputy Manager, Climate Change from Technology and Action for Rural Advancement, TARA. Distinguished faculty members and eminent resource persons, Dr. Behra and my dear colleagues from AARDO, dear participants, ladies and gentlemen, very good day. It gives me a great pleasure to extend a warm welcome to you all on behalf of 32 governments. Today, we gathered here to mark the inaugural ceremony of our online international training program. This program is jointly organized by AARDO and Technology and Action for Rural Advancement, TARA, India. This program is dedicated to enhancing nationally determined contributions and fostering job creation through technology solutions. I would like to begin by expressing my heartfelt appreciation and deep gratitude to Dr. Ashok Khosla, along with his dedicated and professional team. Their generous support and cooperation have been instrumental in the successful organization of this online training program. With the participation of more than 100 esteemed individuals from 22 AARDO member countries and 2 prospective countries across Africa and Asia, this program stands as a testament of the significance of its theme. Such widespread involvement is highly encouraging and reinforces the importance of the program's focus. Ladies and gentlemen, regarding the theme of our training program, we'll be discussing an issue that is becoming increasingly urgent, which is the climate change. We are all aware that climate change is a major concern for humanity in this era. Primarily due to human activities, experts worldwide agree that there is direct correlation between the rise in global warming, climate change, and the increase in greenhouse gases, especially carbon dioxide. Urbanization, a prevailing trend in developing nations, is driven by numerous factors. It's worth noting that the construction sector contributes significantly to the emission of carbon dioxide. This comes from the construction, operation, and use of building, which leads to considerable release of carbon dioxide into the air. Consequently, we face numerous challenges in the building sector when attempting to reduce these emissions. The overuse of non-renewable energy resources, substandard building designs, and disregard to sustainability in urban development hinders our efforts to reduce carbon dioxide emissions. As such, it's imperative that we develop mitigation strategies and standards alongside clear guidelines to curb carbon dioxide emissions. We must enforce these standards and policies, carry out impact assessments, embrace low carbon technology, and regulate energy use. Every stakeholder has a role to play in reducing carbon dioxide emissions, a crucial part of our fight against climate change. We are all aware that these emissions act as a barrier in the atmosphere, trapping heat and causing the earth to warm. And this warming affects our environment, food and water supplies, weather patterns, and sea levels. One technical strategy we can adopt in buildings to reduce carbon dioxide emissions is to use low carbon technology. This refers to technologies that minimize greenhouse gas emissions, specifically carbon dioxide. Examples include renewable and sustainable energy technologies like evaporate cooling, passive ventilation and cooling, solar dehumidification, and energy recovery systems. These technologies have proven to significantly reduce emissions and promote energy savings in buildings. They are also help to develop basic strategy requirements for innovation-driven development in the building sector. Ladies and gentlemen, climate change poses a tangible and overwhelming risk to our entire global community. Its impacts are already evident, and they could have devastating consequences unless we take immediate action by enhancing education, encouraging innovation, and adhering to our climate commitments. We can initiate the critical transformations required to protect our planet. These modifications also offer immense opportunities to update our infrastructure, thereby creating new jobs and promoting prosperity worldwide. Technological innovation plays a crucial role in our fight against climate change, both by minimizing emissions and by helping us adjust to the effects of a changing climate. By creating and implementing energy-sufficient technologies, we can decrease our energy production needs, thereby reducing emissions. Renewable energy technologies such as solar, wind, and hydropower have the potential to replace fossil fuels as our main energy sources, leading to a substantial reduction in emissions. Furthermore, technological innovation can help us adapt to the effects of climate change. This is crucial because even if we succeed in lowering emissions, the world will still likely experience some level of climate change due to the greenhouse gas that obviously and already been released into the atmosphere. Dear participants, we all know technology has become a significant factor in shaping our lives, communication, travel, and interactions in today's world. Its rapid advancement has had a profound impact in all industries, particularly agriculture, which serves as the backbone of most developing economies. With six decades of experience, AARDO continues to lead the way in focusing on sustainable development goals, the SDGs, in rural areas through various and evolving methods. Recently, we have outlined a strategic framework that aligns with the SDGs 2030. Our central mission is to facilitate the transfer of technology and promote the application of science in society, thereby driving rural transformation and prosperity in Africa and Asia. In line with this mission, AARDO's 10-year strategic framework 2021 to 2030 emphasizes the scope, speed, and scale of transferring available, accessible, and affordable technologies and solutions among member countries. We have compiled a collection of technologies into a dynamic database, which we called on our website Affordable Technology Menu, which houses both available technologies for transfer and innovative technology. This initiative is integrating innovation and technology as key drivers for climate resilient, smart agriculture, diversified livelihoods, sustainability, and inclusive growth. TARA, a social enterprise of development alternatives, is the world's first social enterprise dedicated to sustainable development. It strives to deliver socially equitable, environmentally sound, and economically scalable development outcomes. TARA's green technology innovations in habitat, water, energy, and waste management have reduced poverty and rejuvenated natural ecosystems in India's most disadvantaged regions. During this training program, esteemed resource persons will share success stories of technological innovation for reducing carbon emissions and providing sustainable livelihoods in developing countries. I am confident that the discussions during the training program will lead to constructive and valuable recommendations for the transfer and adaptation of innovative technologies as technicians, researchers, and policy facilitators. Your contributions to initiatives such as technological know-how and adaptable technologies to combat climate change are invaluable. I encourage your active participation and invite you to share your country's experiences, strategies, and challenges encountered during this training program. We anticipate significant takeaways and implications for AARDO member countries. I would like to express our deep gratitude to Development Alternative and TARA, particularly its chairman, Dr. Ashok Khosla, Shri Shrajtant Patara, Dr. Suman Maiti, and Ms. Bharti for their support and hard work in developing the training framework and modules. I'm grateful to all our member countries and most importantly to the participants who will continue to collaborate with AARDO, facilitating the transfer of technologies as solution to arrange challenges in the agricultural sector of our respective member countries. Thank you very much for having me. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It was very good to hear from you, the association that TARA and AARDO is looking forward to and envisioning for. Now, I would like to invite the core person who is behind this arrangement of this whole online training program, Kamal sir. Would request him to give a vote of thanks, and then we can start off for the technical session.
Yeah. Thank you, Bharti. Thank you very much. I hope I'm audible. Bharti, I am audible?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I may just, before giving any vote of thanks, I can just, Bharti can also relate to, she came to our AARDO secretariat and Dr. Behra, me and sat together. And over the discussion, this idea came up. And now it is on the practical way that we are having a 24 countries for 100 participants. So thank you, Bharti, once again for supporting this idea. So let me have it a very formal vote of thanks. Respected Dr. Ashok Khosla, Chairman, Development Alternatives, Mr. Rami Katashit, Assistant Secretary General AARDO, Shri Shashant Patra, CEO, Technology and Action for Rural Advancement, Development Alternatives Group, Resource Person, Ms. Bharti, Deputy Manager, Climate Change, Technology and Action for Rural Development. Dear participants, I feel really honored and privileged to get this opportunity to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion for this high-level dignitaries. I would like to thank the honorable delegates who blessed the occasion with their august presence. On behalf of the participants, I convey my deep regards and warm thanks to our Honorable Assistant Secretary General and Dr. Ashok Khosla, Chairman, Development Alternative, Shri Shashant Patra, CEO, TARA Development Alternatives Group, for their support in all possible manner to organize this e-training program on such an important theme. Because we are the face who are coordinating with the participant, but behind the scene, these dignitaries were there who supported our idea and the things came into the reality. Our sincere thanks once again goes to the dignitaries who graced us with their kind words and enlightened the theme of the program. Dear participants, again, the event cannot be organized single-handedly. It's required some dedicated team, perfectionists to accomplish the task. And I would like to express our gratitude to, especially to Dr. Sanjeev K. Behra, Head IEC Division, who were totally all the time supporting us, me and Bharti, in planning, leading this event at every occasion, on every point of that you can say from each and every that program schedule we have planned, everything was that it was guided by Dr. Sanjeev Behra. At this occasion, I would also like to thank, because I can't thank each and everyone, so I just take this opportunity to thank TARA and AARDO team for helping us to organize such an important e-training program. Dear participants, once again, I wish to successful completion of the program with your active participation under the guidance of renewed resource person. Thank you very much. Thank you once again. I will not take much time. So it's over to Bharti. Now the program can start.
Yeah. So I think we thought of taking a group picture. If anyone's video is off, I request you to switch on their videos. We'll take a group picture and then shift to the technical session.
Yeah. I just added Bharti with the smile face because we will have this group photograph. So it is going to be on our social media platform.
Yeah.
Tara also, we should have some big smile on the faces.
Yeah, I think Dr. Shrok has left, but we'll just crop and
Yeah, sure. We'll
add
take
his
it.
picture.
Sonam, I will request to take a screenshots, and once it's done, just let us know. Yeah, it's done. Thank you very much
Yeah.
once again.
Thank you. Thank you for the special guest who joined us for the inaugural session. Now we are moving forward to the technical session. And I must say, the first session is being like hosted in India, but being conducted from Nepal right now. Dr. Devajyoti Basu Roy, he is Senior Manager, Geology and Materials, is working on this technology that we are going to present today, that is low carbon cement. He has been working to disseminate this technology, work on research backgrounds, and working on various types of clays. You'll get to know more about this technology from him. He's right now not available in India because he's currently doing that work in Nepal. So over to Debo. Just let me know if you face any issue in network. I'll share my screen. Unmute, yeah.
Hello, am I audible? I think
Yes, you are.
Shafik has his hand raised.
No, you
Yes.
can carry on. We can take on
Yes.
questions later.
Okay,
Yeah.
Shafik, maybe you can drop your question on the chat. We'll I'll just screen share this. Bharti, is the screen visible?
Yes, yes.
And I'm audible. Okay. So hello everyone. Very warm welcome to all of you. And in fact, it's a great good fortune to be speaking to all of you. I think that is the advantage of such technologies, which will always transcend geographies. And I think it doesn't matter whether we are in India or we are in Africa or in some part of Asia. Of course, Dr. Khosla has given us the introduction that the problems that plague us, like overall in the entire globe, are probably the same. And greetings to our African counterparts and our Asian counterparts from Egypt, Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, and Malawi, and even Jordan. And I hope that this presentation is going to be on the limestone calcine clay cement technology. But feel free to come back with a lot of questions. Please make note of your questions, and maybe at the end of the presentation, we can put it down on our chat and we can have an interactive session to answer some of your questions. So my name is Dr. Devajyoti Basu Roy. I'm a geologist by profession. For the last 7, 8 odd years, I've been looking at different kinds of sediments and materials. And in Tara, I've been here for the last 4 years looking at this technology and have been part of this particular building materials group. So with that, let me begin my presentation. Essentially, if you have ever wondered that beyond water, cement and concrete are the most widely used materials. Cement is not only the most widely used building material, but cement and concrete become the most widely used materials anywhere in the world. If you leave water aside, and the transition of resources that have been required for the cement and concrete industry has been quite the same for all these years. So whether it is 2000 years ago, the city of Rome and the civilization that we call that Rome is, they developed the first cement buildings, but there was not much innovation in cement. The first use of fly ash in cement was reported only in 1937, which is about just 100 years back. So imagine something that is invented for 2000 years ago, and the only innovations or the only alternatives to that cement had only occurred 100 years ago. And hence came the concept of blending in cement, of using more materials in the same conventional cement, so that cement becomes more resource efficient and low carbon. And from there onwards, if you see today, the amount of concrete being used in the world and produced in the world stands at 14 billion cubic meters of concrete. So it has been an expansion of exponential numbers. And if we look at the demand of society today, then 4.1 billion tons of cement is produced all over the world. And if you're looking at the demand that is going to come, then according to United Nations, by 2050, the share of the population who will be living in the urban areas. So there is a migration from rural and urban areas taking place, and by 2050, 68% of all world population will be living in the urban areas, which means that they will require a lot of cement and concrete, and therefore the cement production all over the world is estimated to grow between 12 to 23%. So there are new plants, new cement plants being established. More and more industries are being established. So this is an increasing in demand. But the problem is that cement comes at a very high cost. There's a lot of emissions that is involved in the production of cement. If we look at some countries like India, Vietnam, China, and Asia, we can see all the graphs are rising. And globally, 7 to 8% of all global CO2 emissions are contributed by the cement and the concrete industry. And therefore, the concern that if demand is to be met, then at what cost? So conventional resources all over the world, whether it be limestone, clinker, coal, fly ash, and slag, these are the conventional resources which are usually used all over Asia, Africa, and all over the world in order to make cement. We blend it in different proportions, different weights, depending on the quality, and hence, therefore, the economics of these materials are also in play, and the availability of these materials. So the more the available the material is, of course, the economics also has to play a role in the availability of it and the financial viability of it. And the resources being scarce, like coal, like fly ash, then the technology becomes more and more expensive. And cement bags are now very expensive in countries like where I'm sitting today. Nepal has one of the highest cement bag costs, and also countries in Africa which has to import clinker, because clinker is not available in all countries of Africa. They have to import clinker from other countries in order to produce cement in their own country, and hence the dependence on foreign materials and the spending of foreign exchange becomes quite crucial. Excuse me. So clinker replacements. Clinker replacements made from widely available materials will become imminent. So if this clinker is causing so much of carbon emissions and the clinker is becoming so much more costly, it is because limestone is burnt at 1400 degrees Celsius. If you look at the graph here, where the 90% of all CO2 emissions is actually emitted in this entire process when you're converting limestone to clinker. Because limestone to clinker, if you have to convert, then you need 1400 degrees Celsius as a temperature. And to reach this temperature, you need to burn a lot of coal. So not only the process of limestone to clinker releases CO2, but the burning of coal also is increasing the CO2 emissions in the entire process. And rest every other process in the cement in the cement thing is about 10% of it. So hence, the only material which is really potentially can be mixed with cement to bring down the clinker content is calcined clay. Because when we are looking at alternative methodologies, cement is made out of natural pozzolana, cement is made out of slag, cement is made out of fly ash. So a part of so ordinary Portland cement is 95% of clinker, whereas slag cement is 70% of clinker. Slag and fly ash cement is also 70% of clinker. And likewise, when we see that these technologies have come in, they basically they give the cement technology an edge, because the less clinker you require, the less CO2 you are emitting, and the less resources you are using, and you are replacing it with calcined clay. And therefore, this technology, which we are going to be discussing today at length, is called the limestone calcined clay cement technology. Tara has been associated with this technology for the last 10, 12 years. This was established from the Swiss labs, from the Indian labs of the engineering institutes, where clinker was reduced up to 50%, as you can see. Calcined clay, which is the new material that we are in search of, that the cement industry can use, is 30%. and 15% is limestone and 5% is gypsum. And this drastically brings down your carbon emissions because you have reduced your clinker content from 95 to 50, and instead of that, you have replaced it with more available materials. Hence, it becomes carbon friendly. It saves your clinker imports. It saves your coal, the amount of coal that you require. Therefore, it is cost saving. It is more stronger. Also, in some properties where we are comparing it with the traditional cement, because ultimately cement has to build, cement has to build structures, cement has to build buildings, and therefore it has to be strong as well. And there's a lot of durability properties that have also been conducted in LC3 that basically helps in establishing LC3 as a conventional, as a breakthrough technology in this cement world. So like I shared, CO2 savings are up to 400 million tons per year, because if it is 8%, right now the entire global emissions of the world is contributed by the cement. Then you reduce it by 40%, and you are able to save by 2% of all global emissions by switching to LC3. LC3, in comparison with ordinary Portland cement, is basically a mix of limestone, calcined clay, and clinker. So this replacement basically reduces the CO2 and the resources required to produce the same amount of cement. So which means that with the same amount of clinker, you are now able to produce 2 bags of cement. And therefore, you are able to increase the productivity at a lower cost to the environment, at the lower cost to your industry as well. So where are these clays? And essentially for LC3, you require this new material called clays, which are very common. Usually the brick industry has been using clays to make bricks, or the ceramic industry has been using clays to make ceramics, and the paint industry, as well as the sanitary industry, the tile industry. But none of them have ever utilized clays of the volumes that the cement industry would require. Because in cement, we are talking about a huge demand of billions and millions of tons. Essentially, if you look at clays in literature, in geological literature, and where the resources are spread out, you see it is definitely spread out in the global south. And essentially, the governing countries of AARDO itself, they are the primary stakeholders of these clays. And this is where exactly the potential for LC3 to replace the conventional Portland cement becomes more and more imminent and more important, from the environmental point of view, from the resource point of view, and as well as from the cost point of view, when we are looking at the industry. And therefore, Tara has been, incubating this technology, and we have developed a specialized applied research center here in Tara for transferring this technology to cement industry, or to the civil engineering institutes, or to any cement manufacturer, or to the concrete manufacturer, to understand that how do you basically produce LC3. So we have Tara Applied Research Center set up, which is actively working in many of these countries that you are from. We have worked in Kenya, we have worked in Malawi, we have worked in Saudi Arabia, in Thailand, in Ghana, in Jordan as well. And in Egypt, we have also done some pilot trials of where we have used the existing cement plant to produce LC3, and test the cement of how good it is. So at Tara, we are basically a group of applied research scientists with different expertise. We create a GIS map to make a decision support tool. Now, if you have to introduce a technology from the lab to the industry, then the first question the industry will ask is about scale and economics, because there are many good technologies and researches in our universities. But when will industry adopt it? When it will make economic sense. If there is economic sense, if it is profitable, then that innovation will see the light of the day. And therefore, it is very important as Tara, we always work to make decision support tools for the industry. So the decision support tool in this case of LC3 was to locate the clay deposits nearby the existing cement industry. I'm giving an example of our country, India, where the existing cement plants are marked in green, and pink are the grinding units. So there are two kinds of cement plants essentially. Either you are grinding cement, or you are basically burning limestone in an integrated cement plant. And when we are looking at these clay mines, then they are in the vicinity of these plants. So wherever these clays and the resources are nearer to the plants, they make more economic sense than when it is far away from the plant, because transport and logistics also has a role to play. So therefore, those economics are what Tara helps the cement company to make. Then, of course, we go on the ground to look for these clays in our mines. We locate some of them from remote sensing images, and then we look at the existing clay mines. Now, the best part is that nobody is actually exploiting these clays at a very commercial scale. Therefore, they are lying around and they are not really, being used by any industry. So, with LC3, you are not really competing with any other industry as such, other than using up the waste clays that are in many of those clay mines in all over the world. So if you look at clay mines in India, then even the cement plant, if you can see in the background, doesn't realize that there is clay so nearby. It's just 1 or 2 kilometers from the cement plant, and this is the material which is just lying waste. In fact, there is a lot of money society spends, and the villages spend to maintain this kind of open mines, and they are very hazardous for the environment. And so this LC3 technology has now opened up a way to utilize these clays, utilize these materials which are lying in the in these areas. So we are looking at some clay mines, and they are abundantly available. So there is, so in the scope of the volumes that are required for this technology, that is widely available all over the world. And we are looking at more clay mines. And for example, if we do a calculation of how big are these clay mines and how deep are they going, how much millions of tons is available, then of course we are working with many companies all over Africa and Asia, so we are not allowed to share their data because we are bound by a confidential agreement. So I'm just showing data from India, from the research projects where data is public. So example, in a place called Gujarat and Rajasthan, there are two states in India, in Western India. We already have established 1,000 million tons of clay or 10,000 million tons of clay, just based on preliminary estimates. So this is how clay looks. Clay has many colors, and it is not one particular material that we are looking at, or it is not a monopoly of only one type of resource, but many types of resources can be used, and it can have varied chemical composition. But in Tara Labs, we characterize these clays, and we tell you that which clay can be used to create the right cement, and we help you basically develop the cement. And like I said, we have done pilot scale trials where we have used different kinds of clays from different types of mines. We have used some coal, then we have converted that into LC3. And nobody will believe LC3 if we do not have structures and buildings made out of LC3. So as you know, that cement requires standards to be sold in the market, and any country, whether it's Asia, Africa, or the European countries, or they all require standards to sell a new type of cement, because cement is used to make buildings and houses, which are very, very essential for infrastructure. So therefore it has to be standardized. And in the case of India, we just got our standards in June. European standards have been published in 2021, and American standards are there. And many countries in Africa are also getting the standards for LC3. We are working with these countries to get the standards for LC3, because essentially whatever cement we produced in trials had to be used. So we basically made structures and buildings out of these cement. So here is the Swiss Embassy building in New Delhi. Then there is in the southern India, in the coast, we use these tetrapods as breakwater structures to avoid the water, the waves action to hit the ground. And so these are breakwater structures, and they have to be very good cement and concrete, because they have to stop the corrosion also of the concrete. And this is the first building of LC3 anywhere in the world. This is inside our Tara campus in Madhya Pradesh. It was built in 2013, and it is still standing, and people are working in the office inside this building. So that is our best example of an LC3 working. And then we have made pavements and other buildings also with this cement, so that it is believable and the society can see that, okay, this is a general purpose cement. And as I shared, in India, now standards are published. We are already working within India in these states where we have got the clays, and the Swiss Development Cooperation, thanks to them, they have funded most of the research in India. And in the world, we are almost in 18, 19 countries now. I am sitting right now in Nepal because we had some meetings in Nepal, and we've initiated the LC3 project in Nepal. We have already worked in Malawi, in Lilongwe, and between Lilongwe and Blantyre, there's a place called Dedza in a Lintepe. So where we have got some clays, and we are working with CPL cements in Malawi already. And in Egypt, we have worked with Lafarge Cements. And in Kenya, we are working with many other cement companies. Saudi Arabia, we are also working between Saudi Arabia and Jordan. There's a new project coming up, the NEOM project, which is supposed to be the world's first sustainable city. And there are now expressions of interest which have come in that the cement that is going to be supplied to NEOM can be LC3 as well, because they have to get their carbon emission down. And likewise, in many of these countries of Southeast Asia, where we are working in Thailand, in the Fiji Islands, in Sri Lanka, and so on. So the global footprint of LC3 has been quite vast. And in many of your countries, I just noted Mr. Fatin is here from Egypt, Shristina is from Malawi, Hussein is from Pakistan. And so all of you, like you would be seeing LC3 very soon in your respective countries. So just to give an example on the Asian context of Nepal, like I was saying, the price of cement is the highest in this country because of the mountainous terrains of Nepal. So the cement has to travel from the mountains to the cities in the plains, which increases the cost of the cement. And they have to import a lot of cement, a lot of raw materials from India. So LC3 has a scope of saving that foreign exchange for them and making Nepal self-sufficient. And we have done some kind of calculations of how much cost, and carbon is saved when you compare ordinary Portland cement with Portland pozzolanic cement and limestone calcined clay cement. So if ordinary Portland cement comes out to be $125, this is in the Nepal context. And these are estimates, so please don't quote Tara for the figures. They will keep changing because the market keeps changing. And PPC comes out to be $98. Then limestone calcined clay cement can be produced in $81, which is quite a difference because we are talking about a lot of volume here. And the reduction in CO2 is about 35.29, which can be also increased up to 40%. So I think, and when we look at other countries also, I'll just skip it because these are all the same. For each country, we've made the clay maps. We are developing them and we are ready to transfer it to them. Usually we require a cement manufacturing company or an interested party or a government body. And hence, just a summary, what is LC3? LC3 is low carbon, resource saving, high performance, globally scalable, cost effective, and of course, the most important, ready to be implemented. And LC3, it's not just a technology in the lab. And the benefits is that it saves up to 30 to 40% CO2 compared to OPC, which is a global 1.1 to 2% of CO2 reduction, saves scarce resources and uses waste material. Performance is similar or better than OPC in many cases, and it can serve the global demand of 4.2 billion tons. It saves up to 25% of the cost in production, and it can be used just as OPC has been used. So there is no special training required as such, other than the making of LC3. Hence, therefore, LC3 is a feasible solution for both climate protection and development efforts. And Tara has been leading this. So this is why eminent, because policymakers will aim at changing the framework to build low carbon economies. Now, all countries are heading towards making low carbon economies, and they are nationally determined, contributions. NDC targets are also about saving carbon emissions. Such a framework will, of course, increase the attractiveness of LC3. And against any other cement technology, this has the great potential because the clay is available in almost all countries, and therefore it is a global technology. Thank you. That's all from my side. I think I have spoken a lot. I think the floor should be open for any questions that you may have. It's been a wonderful experience. So I'm sure you have many questions because the presentation is just to initiate a discussion. Feel free to ask away. Bharti, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Devo. I now request any participants who have their question or query or clarification related to the technology can speak and unmute and share their queries or questions if there are any. And Devo, there's one question is that can we share this slides with them if you are okay? Hello. 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 Debo, am I audible to you? Yes. Okay. So they are saying to share the question, the presentation, and second is there some features different from the cement in simple concrete than the cement in reinforced concrete? If you can unmute and answer. Yeah, you are muted.
Yeah, thank you, Bharti, for the question, and thank you, Ishaq Rashad, for the question. I think, yes, of course, some features are definitely different in this cement, but how it is to be used is not different. The applications of the cement becomes similar to any other concrete. It looks gray in color, it is fine and powdered, but essentially, when you are replacing clinker with calcined clay, the fineness of the cement is increasing, which means it is less porous and less permeable. Essentially, in reinforced concrete, we know that we have a reinforced steel or an iron bar, which is surrounded by concrete, and essentially concrete helps in the structure of a building because the flexibility is given by the steel bars and the strength is given by the concrete. So in LC3, the advantage is that because it is a fine grained cement, the durability properties of the cement improves because how does concrete fail, or how do we see buildings have failed in the past, is when there is water or there is moisture or there is air which interacts directly with the steel and the iron, and the steel and the iron starts rusting, and hence therefore there is a break in the structure, or the building collapses, or there is a structure. So in terms of LC3, one of the features which is different is that it is more finer, and because the particle size is fine, it is packed more tightly. So the microstructure is much more tight, so it stops any kind of water or air to interact with the steel, and it increases the life of the building. So these are some of the features that are different. The water to cement ratio, usually in how you produce cement, is also going to increase a little bit because clay absorbs moisture, water. So clay as a material is a little different than limestone, and hence these small features, there is definitely a difference. But if I give you an LC3 bag and an OPC bag and I ask you to do the same thing, in applications there would not be any difference. Thank you.
Okay. 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 So, talking about working in different countries, like we know that you've been deploying the technology and disseminating the knowledge in various African countries. If you can name few and share your experience, like how did you find the clay and what work have you done in Malawi? Since I've been aware of that you've been working in Malawi for a quite long time, and further in different countries. If you can draw some light on that. Unmute. Yes.
I think I have to be allowed to be unmuted.
Okay, I'll make you host.
Yeah, sure. No issues. Thanks, Bharti, for that question. I think yes, and thanks for the pertinent question because first of all, you understand that what we normally believe that what works in one country may not work in another country because the conditions, the circumstances, the economy, and the industry will be different. But in terms of the cement industry, actually, that is what my first learning was, that the cement industry all over the world is more or less similar, and they are all conservative, and they are not very ready to change because they are making a lot of money while producing cement, and they are actually an established industry. They know the formula of cement very well, and they know that this is the right way of doing it. For years and years, they know. So hence, bringing any new change, any newness to the entire technology was very difficult. So one of the first experiences, I think, when we entered Africa or when we entered Asia, was this first resistance from the cement industry that, okay, we don't want any new kind of cement, right? And there is a risk involved in getting into the cement. But the only convincing power we had in Tara to help them is that we said that we will use your raw materials, give us your raw materials, and we will look for clays in and around your facilities, not bring it from India or not bring it from a place which is closer to us, but it is materials which you are aware. So in Malawi, because since you asked about that question, in Malawi we were at Blantyre, and at that time Lafarge was not owned by the Huashin. Now Huashin is owning Lafarge Cement Company, and there are three cement companies: one Shayona Cement, one CPL Cement, and Huashin Cement now. So between these three cement manufacturers, when we were discussing about this new technology, of course, one is to bring clay from India and show that LC3 is great. But once we started using Lintipe clay, which is their own clay, Dedza clay, when we used Chilekha clay, when we used Kasungu clay, Mangochi clay, and all these clays in Malawi, they started believing in us because they realized the raw materials are within the country, and therefore they do not need to import it from elsewhere. And this was a similar experience in Sri Lanka, in Saudi Arabia, because in Saudi Arabia they use diesel to fire cement. They do not have coal, and diesel is very cheap, so they use diesel to fire clothes. So I was amazed that why will they want to reduce CO2 emissions? Then in Saudi Arabia the condition was very different, that they are building this NEOM structure and they need to have a low carbon city, and therefore they wanted to save the carbon emissions. They were not really concerned about cost. So in different countries, in different places, when we started looking out for these resources, I think the primary driving person or the primary driving thing was to look for profit. If you basically can give economic benefit back to the industry, then the industry will move. Otherwise, just sharing about environmental benefit or just having technical benefit in a technology is not helpful. And that is what I think Tara has done right in this process, that Tara has looked at the economic benefit of it also. And then industry is ready to take it up, take it the technology. So the idea was that we look at economic sense, business sense for the industry, then it made sense.
Okay, so that's a good insight that you've shared with us. Then further talking about uh, can provide deploy this technology in a country. Okay, so there's some suggestion that is coming in the chat box is that they can provide policy level interventions. So if you can highlight what we have done in India at policy level, that would be a bit of helpful over here, and then we can answer the question that they are asking.
Yes. Actually, Stephen, thank you for the question. And you can obviously drop your email also with us in the chat so that we can get back to you in detail. The policy work that is definitely required in this work is to incentivize the technology, which means that if there is a new cement which has to be produced out of the factories of the cement industry, then it also has to be bought by a market. Now, if you do not have a market, then the industry will never produce that particular technology. So the policy was a public procurement policy that we were working on. In fact, Bharti was one of the spearheading person in that, where she worked with the Ministry of Environment and the Ministry of Mines to bring in a policy where all the government buildings or the public buildings, because India is moving towards a net zero future. I think many countries are. So they said that the government will start using this cement in some of its construction, in some of its building. So what will happen if the public starts looking at the government is using these buildings, the cement in buildings, then it will become more trustworthy of the cement, of the technology. Then the market will start opening up. So essentially, LC3 is now being asked by the new airport which is coming up in New Delhi. There is a demand for this cement. So therefore, once you see that, okay, the new airport is made out of this low carbon cement, then people will say, okay, let me also build my house or my office or my technology is giving a lot of carbon savings. There has to be a lot of benefit which goes back to the industry owner, which means that if you are making low carbon, then you also should be able to earn through carbon credits. So that is very essential. Yeah.
Okay, talking about the technology, can we mention? I hope I know already you might have mentioned something, but there has been some hand raised by someone from AARDO, I guess. Sonam, do you have any question or something to be said? I'm not sure. So there is one more thing, that is Nigeria is endowed with all the raw material necessary to achieve better cements with lot of advantages. And the Indian government should take advantage of this capabilities to cushion the monopoly and benefit the reduction emission to curb the climate change mitigation. That's a insight that they are giving to us. Like from Nigeria, we are receiving the information that there are a good advantages that we hold, LC3 holds with it. And also, if we can ask the person who has commented, can share something what's going on in Nigeria for that purpose, in typically in cement purpose. And there is one hand raise as well, if they
Yeah,
can unmute themselves.
Isaac has shared, I think, a suggestion of using
Yeah.
an alternative fuel. Isaac, is that correct?
Please unmute and
Okay, I'll request Isaac, kindly feel free to, send an email if you have a detailed question or detailed suggestion. We'll definitely get back to you. Anybody else, please feel free if you want to speak.
I
Bharti,
think
over to you.
yeah,
Yeah.
they have unmuted, but they're not able to talk. I don't know. So they can drop in the message over chat box. And talking about the technology, we know that bringing it up in the field, getting the standards out, we had the support of our partners, which you have already mentioned. And later in the countries wherein we are just like we have participations from Bangladesh, Pakistan, and also are there. So what are your take on taking it forward to the countries like Bangladesh and nearby Pakistan and other, or is there any current studies going on for exploration of clays, if you are aware of?
I think Dr. Hassan has his hand raised. Dr. Hassan, would you like to speak first? Then I'll answer.
Yeah, thank you. I just have a small question based on the incentives that the government gives you. So, do you get additional incentives for exporting uh, this magnificent cement, and also for such an innovation and R&D in this? Do you get certain incentives from the government for doing this and similar products? And my last question is, and this is based on some of the work we are doing in areas on our western border. Do you work on similar products like construction materials, special economic zones in India where cement led or perhaps steel led special economic zones?
No, Dr. Hassan, up until now, we have not used on the economic zones. The strategy in which we have intervened with the technology has been especially the cement manufacturing company or the state government expressing an interest, or the government expressing an interest of the country. So if the government has expressed interest in the country, then we have uh, intervened in terms of developing new standards for the cement, testing the raw materials of the cement, finding out the feasibility. And if it is the cement company who have approached us, then naturally it's like a private project that they have basically given us for the only the interest of their own industry and their own company.
Okay. So, is there any further query that the outside might be having, if you want to continue? Hello? Yeah, so please unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Just one more question. How difficult was it for you to navigate through the bureaucracy for introducing such a new product? Or
Uh,
was this part of the government-led initiative, or because in our case, for especially for private entrepreneur to have a new initiative,
Sir, I think we've lost your connection. You're not audible.
can
Uh,
should I say it again? Can you hear me
uh,
now?
I just heard half of it. If you can repeat it, it would be great.
Yeah. Okay. Just succinctly, how easy or difficult was it for you or any other startup for starting a new product or introducing a new product, even suitable for environment, to sail through the bureaucracy and the quality standards within the government?
Essentially, Dr. Dow, thank you for asking the question. And I think this is the most important learning in disseminating a technology is not the technology itself, but the process in which the technology is deployed. I think that was a more important learning lesson. I think in this case, this technology faced a lot of resistance. However, in the industry that we are talking about, cement is a very high volume business, and it is also connected to the infrastructure or the development goals of the government. So we had to work on both fronts. On the supply side, we had to ensure if the manufacturing has the right technology to produce it so that the cement is not compromised. Because if the cement is compromised and even one building fails with the new cement, then you are losing the technology, So the right technology transfer is very important. So we have to be technically very, very strong to back our claim. So I think that required a lot of time and lot of struggle. But at the same time, for the decision maker, it is very important to have like multiple, liaising with them, because we also have to see what is the decision maker trying to do. The decision maker, if the technology is right, if the environment is going to benefit, if the resources are going to be okay, then usually the decision maker will not have a problem. In fact, it will work to their favor. So from the demand, from the supply side, we work with the cement manufacturer, but from the demand side, we had to work on policies and critical policies we had to look for. Of course, I'm not saying it is an overnight process, especially in the terms of a technology transfer. It takes a lot of to and fro, and the bureaucracy, especially in the cement industry, was lot of questions. So you have to basically be prepared with a lot of answers and technical reports. So the Indian standards that has been published, sir, in June this year, it is actually a 2,000-page document of technical document. So that had to be compiled by all scientists and policy resource people together and to see the light of the day. It was not easy. European standards came first, American standards came, but Indian standards took a lot of time because of the bureaucracy, you know. So that is all.
Yeah. Thanks. Okay. So they're saying that if you can take us back to the page showing composition of LC3, I think you have to leave. If it's emergency, you can leave. I'll just take it over. Or else, if you have time, you can just go back to the page where it is showing the composition, which is 50% clinker, 30% calcined clay, 15% limestone, and 5% gypsum. Uh, the basic component is that we are reducing the component of clinker over here from the normal cement. So this is the composition that LC3 holds. If we have any other questions or other clarifications on the same thing, if someone can unmute and ask. I think we have answered the question that Daud sir was asking. Uh, uh, and if they need further information, they can send us mail. And yeah. Yeah. So Yeah. Okay. So you can, Devu, you can leave. If there's any query, I'll get you on call, or else we can just take it further.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah.
And thank you, Ardo, especially for giving us this platform. And thank you, everyone, especially the participants. I hope interest has been generated for LC3. Feel free to write to us, discuss with us. Any idea is a great idea. So we are welcome to any such improvement and learnings that we have. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. So yeah, bye. So taking it forward, I think we had a very nice presentation on low carbon cement, which can be of relevant interest to the various African countries, because the Indian geography might be different, but the composition or the geology of that particular area could be of similar relevance, and even the exploration of the clays can also be done. How do they harvest CO2? Okay, there's no harvest of CO2. It is like once you do the processing of the cement, or the clinker is being used in that. So for using that clinker, that amount of clinker, there is a lot of carbon emissions which are being engaged into the process. So if you reduce the amount of clinker in the cement, then automatically the CO2 emissions will be lesser. So we have done this studies, and we have conducted the life cycle analysis of the whole one bag of LC3 as well as one bag of normal cement. So we have got the studies that 40% CO2 emissions are reduced while producing this bag of cement. So there is a significant amount of reduction in the CO2 emissions during this production. So one side you are saving the resources, that is normal clinker or whatever the raw materials that you're using, and second side you are just lowering down the use of fuel into that, and third is that you are reducing CO2 emissions, and automatically you are contributing towards the NDC targets if the cement company is producing it at larger scale. So that is one of the thing. So yeah, thank you so much. Yes, the cement, since it is the cement industry is the very big carbon emitter, and 8% of carbon emissions comes from global emissions comes from cement industry only. So yeah, we all, anyone from us who are there in some government offices, or some entrepreneurs are there, or maybe from wherever you are, there might be some interest wherein you can look forward to work in that area, because there is a huge potential of reducing carbon emissions through this cement, LC3 cement. And of course we need government support to publish the standards and accept the technology. So for that, Tara is also there to support, or even we can look forward to how we can work in that area, because of course to accept certain things and bring certain things into the market, we need to have government buying in that. So yeah, we'll share the presentation once all this series of training programs are being conducted. Then we will share the presentation, and if anyone is having any other further queries, then we can take it forward, or else we can look forward to have a glimpse of what is coming next tomorrow for the training session. Kamal sir, do you have anything to add, I guess?
No, but it's okay, perfectly okay. You can go ahead.
Okay. So talking about this, basically cement sector, the overall objective for us in this 4 days would be to focus on 3 particular major areas. That is that is cement, that is construction industry, wherein we use basically 2 major components. One is brick and one is cement. So that is the one important area wherein Tara has been working since long in the building materials sector. And secondly, we are looking forward to share what we are doing in water solutions, what are water solutions that we are looking forward to cater for in India as well as outside, because water resource that water solution means we are talking about the drinking water problems, the quality of the water, as well as the management of the sources. For example, in India there has been a lot of push in terms of conserving the ponds, the lakes. A whole drive is going on in India and maybe in different countries as well. So we will be taking a good session on how Tara is driving that the the work in water solutions. And secondly, in construction industry, yes, we have been working for LC3 as well as some eco concrete technology is also there. My colleague will be there who will be sharing the technical details of the technologies in the coming days with you. And apart from these three, the construction and the water, there is the third one, which is called renewable energy. We will be talking about the a very good success story which got even the international prize as well for the implementation, because there are certain areas where we were lacking the availability of electricity particularly. So therein Tara has done a certain good amount of work in terms of harnessing the renewable energy and creating microgrid structures and creating enterprises as well, because of course it has to be run by people. So that there a whole network of people are there who are managing it, and still the work is currently going on, and it is a success story because they are themselves managing it. We don't have to intervene into that. So that is a one of a very good case study that will be coming to your screens tomorrow. We will be taking you through the renewable energy success story tomorrow, and later on in the day after tomorrow we will be talking about the eco concrete technology, how African countries are doing it. We have worked in certain countries wherein we have stories to be shared, and on 15th we will be talking about the most important thing, that is water for you. And then we can have a final round of a discussion that how other countries want to share their information, or if they have any suggestions or any queries related to the technologies, they can share with us. So I think for today, related to low carbon cement, we tried to deliver a lot of information to you. If you have any doubts related to the technology, or any information needs to be shared with you, you just write to us on the WhatsApp group, or maybe on the email that has been provided in the WhatsApp the chat box. I think we are done through that. If any participant has anything to say, they can unmute and say, and after that we can close. Yeah. So yeah, we'll share. So we'll share all the details of the low carbon cement. Kamal sir, can we share the presentation after all the sessions? Yeah, or shall we share it today only to the participants?
I
Or
think
we can
Bharti,
compile 4 of them and then share it with all.
no, it's okay, Bharti, we can share today so because if they will have any question, they can directly email to the author.
Hello?
Bharti, it's audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. We can share today that we are
Okay,
having a
okay.
WhatsApp group also. So we can
Okay.
share over there. At the end, we will compile the whole for that document. We will reshare it again.
Sure. Okay, so we'll share I'll share it with AARDO, and then the formal mail will be shared with all the participants for the same. And we'll start the training session tomorrow at the same time, 2 p.m. Indian Standard Time, and requesting all the country members to join at their respective timelines. So the link would be same, and we'll be talking about the renewable energy systems in India, and if there's some possibility to do certain similar level of work in African or Asian or Pacific countries, then we can explore that further. So yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. So I'll just close, Kamal sir.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you.